Welcome back to Movie Moshow. Today we are going to review the action fantasy film, Exodus, Gods of Egypt. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We post multiple times daily. Spoilers ahead. 1300 BC in ancient Egypt. For more than 400 years, Egypt has held the Hebrews as slaves. They shaped and constructed the city while it was ruled by many pharaohs. They haven't lost sight of their native nation or their lone god, and he hasn't lost sight of them either. Moses, Christian Bale, and his adopted brother Ramses, Joel Edgerton, discover that the Hittite army is close to the holy city of Memphis while visiting the pharaoh's temple. The high priestess, Indira Varma, informs the pharaoh Seti, John Turturro, of a prophecy that a leader would emerge. The two brothers enter combat while riding together in their chariots. They go up against the Hittites and defeat them with their own army. Ramses is on the verge of being crushed to death when his chariot breaks down, but Moses throws a spear that destroys the Hittite chariot. Later, Seti gives Moses praise for rescuing Ramses. Viceroy Hijep, Ben Mendelsohn, who is in charge of the slaves in the city, is the person Moses is sent to speak with. Moses witnesses the beating of one of the slaves, Joshua, Aaron Paul, as they are moving. He is horrified by this vision. Additionally, Moses encounters the Hebrew tribe headed by Joshua's father Nun, Ben Kingsley. Moses discovers that he, too, is a Hebrew who was born in Egypt. This information makes Moses angry. After hearing the tale, two Hebrews tell Hijep about it. After Seti's passing, Ramses becomes the new pharaoh. Hijep informs him about Moses' ancestry. Queen Tuya, Sigourney Weaver, orders a servant named Miriam, Tara Fitzgerald, to be brought before him for questioning. Ramses queries whether she is Moses' sibling. Before Moses intervened and revealed that she was his sister, he almost severed her arm. Ramses sends Moses into exile despite Tuya's demands for his execution. Before departing, Moses runs into Miriam and their biological mother, who reveals to him that he was born Moshe. As he moves over the desert, Moses discovers Midian and makes his home there. He meets Jethro, Kevork Malikian, and Zipporah, Maria Valverde, Jethro's daughter. Moses eventually learns how to be a shepherd, gets to know Zipporah, and the two fall in love and get married. Ramses still has considerable control over Egypt 9 years later. He has a little son from his marriage to Nefertari, Golshifeth Farahani. Moses also remained in Midian, where he and Zipporah had a son they called Gershom, Hal-Hewitson. Zipporah is disappointed that Moses does not have the same confidence in God as his wife and child. Moses climbs a mountain in the midst of a storm. He experiences a rock slide and is knocked unconscious, breaking his leg in the process. He is almost entirely covered in dirt when he awakens. He notices a burning bush and hears a voice. Prior to him is a young boy named Malak, Isaac Andrews. He is a messenger sent by God to interact with Moses. Moses is reminded of his obligations and the nature of his people by the young kid, who gathers some stones and builds a pyramid out of them. Moses goes back to the community and gets his leg fixed. He describes to Zipporah what he witnessed and heard. She doesn't think that God would have visited him when he was a kid. Moses is aware that he must do a mission, but Zipporah does not want him to abandon his family. Moses meets up with Nun and Joshua when he returns to Egypt. Along with Aaron's own son, he also gets to know his brother Aaron, Andrew Tarbet, for the first time. Moses faces Ramses with a sword to the neck when he enters the temple again. The fact that Moses is still alive astounds Ramses. Ramses hears Moses' account of his divine mission. Ramses then makes the decision that he wants to kill Moses, so he goes looking for the Hebrews in the city and starts to publicly execute them until Moses surrenders. The Hebrews are gathered by Moses, who prepares them for battle with Ramses' armies. They learn how to use bows and arrows and defenses against the Egyptians with the tribesmen. Malak alerts Moses of impending events while they talk to one another in the meantime. When a gang of crocodiles attack a fishing boat, chaos ensues. The sea turns scarlet with blood as the creatures tear them, and each other, apart. Then came the 10 plagues, starting with the city's whole water supply turning to blood and dead sea animals rising to the surface. Thousands upon thousands of frogs emerge from the pond and populate the entire city. Then a huge swarm of lice spreads throughout the entire country. The skin of the Egyptians, especially Ramses and his family, develops blisters and sores. Ramses seeks advice from his grand vizier and the high priestess, but when they are unable to aid, he has them put to death. Ramses is once more questioned by Moses about releasing the Hebrews. Ramses contends that there is no justification for changing this after 400 years because doing so would be detrimental to Egypt's economy given its reliance on slave labor. As a result, the plagues continue, destroying the livestock. They spat blood before passing out everywhere. The city is then attacked by a sizable swarm of locusts, which decimate most of the crops. Then comes a severe hailstorm that substantially damages the city. Joshua cannot see Malak while Moses is speaking to him. When Moses finds out what the last plague will be, he is horrified. He instructs them to kill a lamb and cover their doors in the blood. The city is enveloped in darkness that evening. All Egyptian homes without a blood mark lose their firstborn child, including Ramses' son. When he discovers his dead child, he sobs. After that, Ramses yells at Moses, telling him to travel to Canaan with the Hebrews. The Hebrews are led out of the city by Moses. They travel for days on foot before reaching the Red Sea. Angry Moses tosses his sword into the water, fearing they have no other option. Later, the floods start to decrease, making it possible for the people to pass. One Hebrew challenges Moses' authority, but Moses persuades everyone to follow him anyhow since he promises to carry them home. They start to move through the water. Ramses is still inconsolable at the death of his son back in Egypt. He makes the choice to pursue the Hebrews. Without stopping to rest the soldiers or the horses, his men ride over the highlands. Many of Ramses' soldiers are slain while traveling when the mountains collapse, taking the soldiers with it. The Hebrews are almost crossed the Red Sea when the remaining Egyptians catch up to them. After that, the seas start to reform, forcing everyone to flee. Joshua, Aaron, and others follow Moses as he rides in the direction of Ramses. Moses commands the Hebrews to flee to shore as the floods get closer and higher. Most of Ramses' men also flee, but Ramses keeps riding toward Moses. Then the seas come crashing down, killing the men of Ramses before striking Moses and Ramses. Ramses also survives, but he is left alone with his dead warriors, who are all being eaten by birds, while Moses lives and rejoins the Hebrews. To be reunited with Zipporah and Gershom, Moses takes the Hebrews into Midian. Moses advises her to have more trust than ever right now. They kiss and embrace. Moses is afterwards seen etching the 10 Commandments onto a piece of stone. He speaks with Malak once more, who advises him to keep writing if he genuinely believes what he is saying. The Hebrews travel through Mount Sinai. The 10 Commandments are close to Moses, who is far older. Malak is visible to him as he scans the throng before he abruptly vanishes. After that, the Hebrews keep traveling toward the Promised Land. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.